The Mongols never lost. Not to the Chinese, not to the Persians, not to anyone. From Korea to the gates of Vienna, they crushed every army that stood against them. So how did a city, surrounded, outnumbered, and starving, hold off the greatest military force in human history for over a year? The answer: changed warfare forever. April 1232, Kaifeng, northern China. A Mongol sapper crouches beneath a thick cowhide shelter at the base of the city's massive stone wall. Around him, dozens of his comrades chip away at the foundation with iron chisels. Safe from arrows, safe from boiling oil, hidden from the defenders above. The leather shelter above him is 3 layers thick, proof against anything that desperate Jin defenders can throw down. He's done this 100 times in 100 cities. The wall will fall. It always does. Then he hears it. A strange hissing sound, growing louder. Something metallic, scraping against stone. He looks up just as an iron sphere the size of a man's head descends on a chain through a gap in the shelter. Someone shouts a warning, but there's nowhere to run. The sphere detonates with a sound like heaven splitting open. The iron casing doesn't just burst, it shatters into hundreds of razor-sharp fragments traveling faster than arrows. The cowhide screen, designed to stop stones and fire, disintegrates. The fragments tear through armor, through flesh, through bone. When the smoke clears, there's nothing left of the sappers. Not even their shelter, not even a trace. The Mongols have never seen anything like it, and the Jin defenders have dozens more. The year is 1232, and the Mongol Empire is at the height of its power. Led by Ogedei Khan, son of Genghis, they've been at war with the Jin Dynasty of northern China for 21 years. Beijing fell in 1215. The Jin capital relocated south to Kaifeng. For 2 decades, the war ground on, but by 1230, the end seemed inevitable. The Mongols had perfected siege warfare. They captured Chinese and Persian engineers who taught them to build trebuchets, siege towers, and mining techniques. No city could hold. In 1232, the legendary Mongol general Subutai converged his forces on Kaifeng. Subutai, veteran of campaigns from Korea to Eastern Europe, architect of victories that reshaped Eurasia. He'd conquered more territory than any commander in history. On April 8, 1232, his forces surrounded Kaifeng completely. Siege lines stretched 87 kilometers around the massive city. Inside the walls, over 1 million people, 40,000 defenders under Emperor Aizong, and a weapon the Mongols had never faced at this scale. Standard Mongol siege doctrine was simple and brutal. Starve them, bombard them with trebuchets, mine the walls, wait for plague and despair to do the rest. Subutai had done this countless times, but Kaifeng's defenders had something different. Gunpowder had been known in China for centuries. Fire arrows, arrows with gunpowder packets attached, had been used since at least the 11th century. Soft shell bombs made of paper or bamboo terrorized enemies with noise and fire. But these were psychological weapons, terror devices. They rarely killed in significant numbers. The Jin engineers at Kaifeng made a critical modification. They put the gunpowder inside cast iron. The weapon was called the Zhen Tian Lei, the heaven-shaking thunder bomb. We call it the thunder crash bomb. And the physics were elegant and devastating. Previous bombs with soft casings would rupture immediately when the gunpowder ignited, releasing pressure in a flash of flame and smoke. Iron casings were different. When the powder exploded inside cast iron, the gas couldn't escape immediately. Pressure built to enormous levels, hundreds of times atmospheric pressure, until the metal itself failed catastrophically. The iron didn't just crack, it shattered into hundreds of jagged fragments traveling faster than arrows. This was the world's first true fragmentation weapon, the ancestor of every hand grenade and artillery shell that would follow. Eyewitness accounts say the explosions could be heard for 30 miles. The blast radius burned everything within a 1/16 of an acre. The iron shards could penetrate Mongol lamellar armor completely, killing horses and men alike. The Jin deployed them with tactical sophistication. When Mongol siege engines approached, thunder crash bombs launched from trebuchets would obliterate them. When sappers tried to mine the walls under protective screens, Jin defenders tied iron chains to the bombs and lowered them directly into the excavations. The legendary cowhide shelters that had protected Mongol engineers at a dozen sieges were shredded, along with the men inside. Historical sources note that after such attacks, not even traces of the victims remained. But the Jin had a second weapon, equally terrifying: the fire lance. Bamboo tubes over 2 feet long packed with gunpowder, sulfur, charcoal, saltpeter, and iron fragments and ground porcelain. When ignited, they shot jets of flame over 10 feet long, essentially proto-flamethrowers, while also projecting burning shrapnel. Jin infantry wielded them like flaming shotguns, devastating to massed troops at close range. Each soldier carried a small iron pot with hot coals to ignite the fuses. In one engagement, 450 Jin troops armed with fire lances launched a surprise night raid into the Mongol camp. They killed hundreds before the Mongols could organize a defense. The combination was psychologically crushing. The history of Jin records that thunder crash bombs and fire lances were the only Jin weapons the Mongols genuinely feared. These weren't the invincible horse archers who had crushed every army from the Pacific to Eastern Europe. They were infantrymen facing weapons that turned their protective equipment into liabilities and made approaching the walls suicidal. Subutai had to adapt. He couldn't assault directly. Instead, he tightened the blockade and waited for starvation and plague to do what explosives couldn't. The siege dragged through the brutal summer of 1232 into a harsh winter. Inside Kaifeng, supplies vanished. Plague ravaged the packed population. People starved. The thunder crash bombs could stop assaults, but they couldn't stop hunger. Months passed. The defenders grew weaker. Disease spread through the crowded streets. Rations dwindled to nothing. Subutai didn't need to break the walls anymore. He just had to wait. By late 1232, Emperor Aizong recognized the inevitable. He fled with his court to Kaiju, abandoning Kaifeng to its fate, leaving General Sui to negotiate surrender. On May 29, 1233, over a year after the siege began, General Sui opened the gates. The Mongols entered Kaifeng. The Jin Dynasty survived 2 more years, finally extinguished in 1234 when Mongol and Song forces captured Kaiju. But the technological cat was out of the bag. The Mongols, the victims of this weapon, became the greatest evangelists. They carried gunpowder west, introduced it to the Islamic world, to Europe. Within a century, gunpowder weapons would make the Mongol style of warfare obsolete. Heavy cavalry couldn't charge cannons. Composite bows couldn't outrange arquebuses. The weapon that couldn't save the Jin Dynasty eventually ended the age of the steppe nomad warrior. As for Subutai, he never lost another siege. He went on to command the Mongol invasion of Eastern Europe, crushing Polish and Hungarian armies at Legnitz and Mohi. He died in his 70s, the most successful military commander in history by territory conquered. But Kaifeng was different. It was the only siege where he couldn't just break through, where he had to starve them out instead of storming in. The thunder crash bomb didn't defeat Subutai, but it forced him to change his tactics. And in doing so, it proved something crucial. Even the greatest military force in history could be checked by revolutionary technology. The Mongols weren't invincible. They were just better equipped and better organized than everyone else. Until they weren't. The Jin Dynasty fell, but their engineers bought them a year, and in that year, they changed warfare forever. Today, thunder crash bombs are displayed in Chinese military museums. Fragments have been recovered from archaeological sites around Kaifeng. The weapon that terrified the Mongols sits behind glass, silent, but its descendants, they're still in use. Every modern explosive weapon, from grenades to guided missiles, uses the same principle. Contain the explosion, let pressure build, and turn the casing into shrapnel. The Jin engineers who invented it died 800 years ago. Their dynasty collapsed, But their innovation outlived empires. The Mongols never lost, until they met a weapon that made winning too expensive. That's not defeat, but it's the beginning of the end. The age of gunpowder warfare had begun, and the world would never fight the same way again.